If you're looking to dip your toes into the world of independent comic books for the first time, it can make things a little less overwhelming if you look for projects that were written by an author you've already heard of. And knowing that, I started this series as kind of a gateway video series for those looking to go from Marvel and DC comic books into the world of indie comics. And after running a poll on multiple different platforms, the next writer that you guys wanted to see more than anyone else was Mark Waid. Now, Mark Waid is a writer that Marvel and DC fans are probably very familiar with at this point. Starting his career back in the mid-1980s, Mark Waid has had the opportunity to work on pretty much all of your favorite characters. With DC titles like Superman Birthright, Kingdom Come, and Underworld Unleashed, combined with his runs on Marvel fan favorites like Daredevil, Spider-Man, and a lot more. So you could kind of say Mark Waid has become something of a household name when it comes to diehard comic book fans. But what many people may not be aware of is that Mark Waid has an extensive list of really good independent comic book projects that you should really check out. And we're going to take a look at 3 of them right now. And first up is Sigil. Now, Mark Waid didn't take over the run until issue 12, but the series itself is so good, I had to add it to this list. The Planetary Union, a group of human-controlled planets, has been at war with a spacefaring species known as the Saurians for several centuries. Samandal Ray, or Sam, is a highly skilled soldier in the Planetary Union Army. Or rather, he was, until he and his friend Roya Centaur were recently laid off due to cutbacks. Now, the two have become mercenaries, and at the beginning of the series, they're vacationing on a planet called Tanipal. While there, they meet future crew members Xaniati and her bodyguard Jameric. During the first meeting between the group, a team of Saurian assassins shows up looking for Sam. It turns out his military days may be over, but the enemies he made during his career haven't forgotten anything. During the scuffle, Roya is mortally wounded, and Sam is tackled and branded by a Saurian, who says to him, "You shall find them, gather them, and lead them." The brand is a red and yellow swirling mark known as the Sigil. After branding Sam and attacking Roya, the Saurians vanish and the group retreat to their ship, the Bitterluck. And that's just what happens in issue 1, so if you're looking for something new to check out in the science fiction genre and you're a fan of Mark Waid's work already, then Sigil is a must-read indie comic series for you. Next up on the list, Irredeemable. What happens when a superhero becomes a supervillain? When the greatest among us become the worst? When a city is destroyed by the one who swore to defend it? That's the exact topic that Irredeemable explores. The Plutonian was once considered to be the greatest superhero in the world. Now, he has become its greatest supervillain by destroying Sky City, the place he once defended and championed, and murdering millions of others across the globe. The series opens with the Plutonian killing the Hornet, his former longtime ally, and his entire family. The remaining heroes, a group known as the Paradigm, are on a search to figure out why on Earth the Plutonian has decided to turn away from being a hero. They start by speaking to his former sidekick Samzara, who the Plutonian gave a lobotomy to with his heat vision. During a meeting between the Plutonian and a group of his former enemies, they immediately betray him when he gives them a way of earning his trust and proving that they want to work together. This resulted in a self-destruct of the facility they were meeting in, and as collateral damage, this explosion also happens to kill Celia and injures Carrie, 2 superhero brothers who were secretly observing the meeting. Later, the United Nations attempted to capitulate to the Plutonian in an attempt to avoid his path of destruction. But the Plutonian becomes offended when a Singaporean representative reveals that his offer was made out of fear and not genuine admiration. And as a form of punishment, the Plutonian makes Singapore sink into the ocean. This series is dark and direct, and I wouldn't recommend this for a younger reader by any means. But if you're a Mark Waid fan and you want to start checking out some indie comic books for the first time, this is definitely a series I would suggest to add to your reading list. Now finally, let's take a look at Incorruptable. This is a spin-off series from Irredeemable, taking place alongside the events of the main series. It's been a month since the superhero known as the Plutonian turned evil and began a rampage of destruction and murder across the globe. Known supervillain Max Damage has gone missing and is presumed to be one of the Plutonian's many victims. But when his former gang commits a robbery, everyone is shocked when Max suddenly reappears, and rather than joining back up with his former cronies, he helps to take them down. He then returns to his former hideout and destroys everything that he had accumulated throughout his criminal career. All the money, all the treasures, everything. He later reaches out to Lieutenant Luis Armadale and asks for help in turning his life around, explaining that before the Plutonian started his turn to evil, Max had actually planned to release a plague that would have killed billions. But when he saw what the Plutonian had become, he decided that the world needed a new kind of hero. What follows is a story of redemption full of action and with a dash of humor sprinkled throughout. And if you're on the fence because it's a spin-off series, Mark Waid himself has gone on record saying that he's preferred writing Incorruptable over Irredeemable, saying, quote, "Max is just funnier. There's just no humor in Irredeemable. To make Irredeemable work, well, I've got to look into ugly, ugly parts of my soul." So, if you've read Irredeemable and you found it to be a bit too intense, Incorruptible may be a way to get more of that world with a bit more levity added to the story. And if you happen to be a Donny Cates fan, you can check out this video right here.